Good morning and welcome to Apex in the commentary box is Dominic Overdyking, who is a personal favorite track of yours, Dom.
It is a good track for me. I'm sorry, Craig, your mic did cut out for me just a little bit then, so I don't know if that has occurred on the broadcast. But anyway, yeah, it's a good track. I think a lot of people like this track. It's one of the classic ones, a very technical one, especially looking at the first sector. Could be a wheel favour track in the first sector, but maybe a pad favour track later on in the lap with the heavy tracking zones and the hairpin and the chicane. So it'll be interesting to see what the drivers can make of it.
Yeah, I mean that first sector, iconic S section through there. It's a lot of fast changes of direction, and this is a circuit where the drivers have got to take a little bit of risk in terms of the setup. As we know on F1 2017, running the high ballast setups is the way to go generally. But around here, one, you need that high ballast to make the time up through that first sector. It definitely gains you a lot through those S's, but at the same time, turn one, and in particular, the first Degner, you're running, up at 10, 11 ballast. The rear end of the car can get very loose through there, so I'm expecting to see some crashes at those points, some spins today, and for the drivers who really push in qualifying and go for that single lap pace, they may struggle a lot towards the end of the stints on their tires.
So as we load into the circuit, we see all the drivers here. We've got, I think, pretty much a full grid today, so that's good to see. I know some other leagues are struggling to get the seats filled, especially down the lower tiers of of AOR. But this grid is full, and I'm expecting some close racing between all of them. Who we are missing though is Masnat, which is our championship leader, currently sitting on 239 points. He's leading over Dubsy, who is there. Dubsy is second on 181 points. The point difference between them, 58 points with 3 rounds remaining. So if Dubsy can get the win today, he's very much still in chance of striking for that championship. In third, we have Sir LJB with 145. In fourth, we have Pure Eye Contrast in the second Renault, because Masnat is in the first. He's sitting on 129. We got Stylen on 69. We got Tortiz on 68. We got Wimpinator on 49. Entei's on 45, the Rumble on 42. We got Frio Shaz on 36. We got the Harry Tomato on 34. Pure Gold in 24. Stuart McKenzie's on 18 points in 13th. Chucky is in 14th with let's have a look, 17 points. Then we have Carrera with 14 points, and we have Rizzy with 2 points. D-Bros with 1 point, obviously getting the point in Singapore when he had a good race. We've got Azatak, Asiplash, and Jordan Dittmer all with no points yet, and this might be a good opportunity for them because anything can happen in Japan.
Yeah, I mean, normally for those guys down towards, the bottom of the table, when you come into a race with 20 drivers, you're sort of sat there thinking, oh man, this is going to be tough for me to find my way into the points. But Suzuka really is one of those tracks where quite literally anything can happen. And especially if it rains, we don't know about that yet, but especially if it rains, this race will be very, very chaotic. It does look like we have a dry qualifying session at the moment. And, yeah, I mean, qualifying at this track is a huge amount of fun, such a fast technical circuit. To find the time around here, I don't know about you, Tom, but I find I've got to really push the limits and drive very aggressively, which can, of course, be very risky. And I think we'll see a number of mistakes from drivers today. So there's a possibility for some of these guys in the midfields, if they hook it up right, to get themselves further up the grids than perhaps they normally do.
Well, the thing is with this, obviously, if you mess up one of the corners in the first sector and hit the grass too much, as I see Runzing Torti taking a very weird line through the grass and the hairpin on his outlap. But anyway, if you hit the grass on anywhere in that first sector, your lap is pretty much over, as we are awaiting the first car to go on a lap. And in that, obviously, in that second sector with the Degners, it's a corner you want to take full throttle, preferably, but can get very tricky if you do so.
Yeah, it's so easy to lose the car through there. I'm sure we'll see at least one, as the drivers are just lining up to start their first flying laps now. And Grunting Tortoise has gone way off the circuit at the start, and he's pulling into the pits. I'll tell you why. Just remembered, I believe that he has a qualifying ban, so he's come out of the pits to save his setup. He's now going back in, and will sit out for the remainder of the session. So let's hop on board with Stuart Mackenzie for a lap around Suzuka as we come down into turn 1, and really sort of cautious in here on the brakes. Easy to lose the car, hard on the power, and now we go into this fast flowing S section. You got to just clip the apexes as well as you possibly can, and this is where a huge amount of the time at this circuit can be found, as Stuart is quite wide there through the right, and now up through Dunlop again, just struggling to find the apex a little bit. Some time to be found there. Now we run our way into the Degners. First Degner is going to be almost flat. Oh, difficult on the brakes for the second Degner. He wasn't quite set up for it right, and the car just getting away from him slightly, but he has managed to slow it down. Then into the hairpin. He's run very deep as well. This is not what we normally see from Stuart. He's normally very, very quick in qualifying, but he's having a bit of a scruffy lap here, and it just shows how challenging this circle is. Oh, okay, so
he's invalidated this time, so that's maybe why he went wide into that hairpin. Obviously invalidated it at the first Deckner, going too wide, and that is the lap over for Stuart Mackenzie, unfortunately. But he has got enough fuel to go for that crucial second lap here.
Alright, we will hop on board with Sir LJB, who's just made his way through the hairpin. Interesting use of first gear there. He ran slightly deep into the hairpin, just used that to get that rotation and get the car turned around for the exit. He comes into Spoon now, very difficult corner. Somewhat cautious into there, and he'll look for... He actually holds it in 5th gear through the second apex of Spoon. That's very interesting. You see most drivers use 4th gear through there, so LJB doing something slightly different, as we do have Pure Gold up in the provisional pole at the moment. Comes through 130R, completely flat out, no issues there for the 2017 cars, braking at the 100-meter board, trying to find the apex of the final chicane. He does that pretty nicely. Could have maybe used slightly more curb, but it's a solid run through there. Sir LGB takes the tight line, and he does move up into 2nd place, but he's not quite able to overhaul Pure Gold, who also we got on a lap. Dubsy in the middle sector, flying through. Oh, he just put a wheel on the grass there, coming into the hairpin. I think he just about has, struggling on the traction as well, and that is a very difficult traction zone out of that hairpin. It's easy to spin out of there, as the camber makes it very difficult to get on the power, and I've seen a lot of drivers struggling with that.
Yeah, I just seen Dubsy nearly lose it at the first Deckner, as you said. It's a corner where you can lose it very easily. Dubsy might have gone for a more aggressive setup and trying to get himself a nice margin for pole. But he holds it in 7th gear. Now it's just up to 8th. The bricks for the chicane. Let's have a look. What can Dubsy do? Can Dubsy put himself into provisional pole and have a good shot at this championship from provisional pole? Let's have a look. What's the time going to be? It's at 29.40 in 5th.
Yeah, only P5 there. He had a bit of a mistake coming through the final chicane. He just had a moment of oversteer in the middle of the chicane, and I think that cost him a little bit of time, although not all of it. It only would have been a couple tenths, so there might have been a mistake somewhere else on the lap for Dubsy. Who else can we hop on board with? Ente has had a mistake on his lap.
iContrast just coming across the line to take 2nd with the 28.7. It's a good lap for iContrast. It's a good performance from him so far. Sitting in P4 in the championship, and showing that he maybe should have been a little bit higher up.
We've got Spilly coming across the line now in the Sauber, and that will be a full-time seat for him. He's made his way as a full-time driver now, starting off as a reserve. The other full-time driver that we've got on the grids now that wasn't at the start of the season is Prying Stingray, who is on his outlap at the moment. He's just starting that outlap though, so it'll be a little bit before he is underway on his lap. Now, do we have anybody else on a flyer right now? It doesn't look like it. And yeah, for these drivers, I mean, it's difficult to decide what to do in terms of the number of laps in qualifying, because grid position is so important here that overtaking it's not that easy of a track to overtake on. You really need to have a fairly large pace advantage and some good straight line speed to get that move done. As Entei has left this session, I think he may have lagged out, so hopefully he's able to get back in. He's currently sitting in P7, which is quite solid for him in qualifying. But yeah, it's not too easy of a track to overtake at, and we do have confirmation as well. It's going to be a dry race, so yeah, the tire wear in qualifying can matter, because if you're tight on tire wear, doing 2 laps in qualifying may make it very difficult for you on the strategy. And towards the end of that first stint, we expect to see every driver go for the 1 stop, but whether the drivers choose the softs or the mediums in the second stint will be, that'll be interesting to see. I think the softs is generally the preferred strategy, but it can, if you're running a very aggressive setup, it may be safer just to pit earlier and go into those mediums.
Yeah, obviously super soft is the preferred strategy, but that undercut, I mean, we know that undercut works a treat around here, especially you can win so much time around the S's on even fresh mediums compared to worn soft. That's right, worn super soft. So you might see a couple of drivers pitting like lap 5, 6, and maybe go for that undercut and see if they can jump a lot of cars.
Yeah, also a big talking point in F1 2017, the undercut, and who will go for that first and take the risk. Prying Stingray's had a big moment in the Degners, completely misses the second apex there, but yeah, a lot of drivers they're kind of getting out of shape through the first Degner. They're really pushing through there, and the car is just unsettled and not balanced right coming into that second braking zone, and it's not braking in a straight line, and the driver is struggling to control that. I think that's the 3rd or 4th driver we've seen with that difficulty. But yeah, I think we'll see, especially in the midfield around this circuit, some pretty aggressive undercuts coming out today to try and jump up. Up at the front, it's normally a little bit more relaxed, as they've got maybe a little bit more of a gap to the cars behind. But in that midfield, it's so tight that you really need every single tenth you can possibly get on an undercut. As Prying Stingray is coming around the final chicane now. No, he comes into the pits, and
with only 1 shot then for this qualifying.
Yeah, I mean, well, here's the thing: he's going to have a tough time making it back out to get his lap in. He's only got 2 minutes and 50 seconds, so it's going to be very close.
Right. I think if you leave at the 2-minute mark, you'll still be quite all right. You're going to have to push a little bit on your outlap, but you'll still be fine. So I reckon we're going to see him out in time after we jump on board with someone else. I'm on board with Chucky now, who's just done his first sector. I can't really see the time. I think it was a 33. So definitely not what you're looking for.
Yeah, Chucky, one of these guys that's normally just thereabouts at the edge of the top 10. Quite often see him sort of in 11th, 12th in qualifying and on fresh tires at the start of the race, and he'll be looking to to just make that extra little step up the table. Currently sitting in P12, he's got a long way to go if he wants to make it into the top 10, at least in terms of time, so he's going to need a big improvement on his first lap as he comes up towards 130R. Beautiful to watch the cars go through here, but absolutely no issues in terms of having to lift off at any point in the race either. It should be down to 3rd for the final chicane, maybe just slightly wide on that second apex there as he runs the line. He doesn't take the tight line really. He could have been tighter, but what a lap from Chucky. It's P6 at 29.4. Great performance from him.
Good lap by him, but he's going to have to go for another lap. He's on another lap. He's got the fuel for it. As we jump on board with someone else, we'll have a look. Joe McKenzie, he's about to cross the line. It's 28.9.
He's just starting a lap.
So he's improved. Well, he's improved, hasn't he?
I believe he was. Yeah, I believe he was P5 before then. We've got LGB coming up towards the Degners now. He's very wide through there. I think that might have been a validation. He's made a bit of a meal of that through there. Now Contrasts coming through the Degners, and that's better through there, down to 3rd for the second Degner just to get the nose in, and then back up to 4th for the sort of more stable car on traction. He brings it around the hairpin, not quite hooking up the apex, but that's pretty good. You don't have to totally get to the curb there. It's somewhat banked, so you can carry a decent amount of speed even if you're very slightly wide. It won't have lost really any time there. Now into Spoon, and you want to be getting maybe just a bit more aggressive on the curbs through there, maybe a 10th or 2 on the table for Contrast. He should have time to get a second lap in, and I think he does have the fuel for it. So Yeah, we'll see. I'm not quite sure if he just hopped into Rich for a moment there. I'm not sure what's going on. He may have maybe slightly down on this lap. We'll see when he crosses the line. Hooks up the apex of the first apex of the final chicane very nicely, though, as he's on the traction now. Takes a very tight line, and it isn't going to be an improvement for Contrast, so he's going to have to go again. Stewart is coming to the end of his lap as well, but he's a bit wide into the final chicane, and this is the point where there's a couple tenths in that final chicane that you really need to get if you want to be high up the grid, and Stewart is not able to get them. He's only able to he's not able to match his previous times. He stays in P5 at the moment. Stylen has bailed out as well, so it will be P4 at best for him. Who else have we got? Championship contender Dubsy is backed out too, so he's at maximum P8. That's not a good qualifying for him. He really has to win this race if he wants any hope of coming back in this championship. Remember, Maznad is not here today, so
I know I'm about with the Prime Stingray. He's in the 32-2, but I think he's winning a little bit too wide, and Declan, he's been into the wall. He's very frustrated with himself there for invalidating that time. That was a good first sector from him, and he's just thrown it on away. So Prime Stingray will
Contrast is off the track as well, so there's cars really everywhere, and a lot of drivers not getting the laps in that they would have perhaps wanted. Wimpernator is backed out of his lap. He's in standard, so I believe the only guy still going is our provisional pole sitter, Pure Gold, who he set this time at the start of the session, and to be honest, the only drivers that have really improved in the final minutes have been Harry Tomato, who didn't even have a lap time, and Chucky, who's come up from 12th to 7th. So, yeah, you've got to say, Suzuka, a lot of bottles here today in qualifying.
A lot of bottles, but we do have Pure Gold crossing the line. Can he improve his time and put himself even further on pole position? Yes, he can. It's 28-4. Good time by Pure Gold, and really showing the opponents what he can do today. And let's hope for him for a good race. He's yet to win the one, I think, isn't it?
No, I don't think that he has a win yet. Of course, he did start off as a reserve driver. In this league, he's come in and had some fantastic pace so far, so a good opportunity here for Pure Gold today. He's on pole by 0.3 of a second, but you've got to wonder if some of these guys behind it just hooked up those final laps, if they could have been closer to Pure Gold. But he's the driver that's hooked it up properly in qualifying, and sometimes it's just what you've got to do, get a lap in, and that's really all it takes when other drivers are struggling, making the mistakes and pushing too hard.
Yeah, so Stuart McKenzie sitting in the 5th position. That's a good spot for Stuart McKenzie, and I'll run you through the grid. And we do have Pure Gold sitting on pole with a 28.4 with the Pure Eye Contrast, doing a good job for the Renault with a 28.7 in 2nd position. And in 3rd, on the 2nd row, we've got Sir LJB together with Styling with a 28.8 and a 28.9 respectively. In 5th position, we've got Stuart McKenzie with also a 28.9, and 6th is Harold Tomato with a 29.3. I can't see the standings now, so I'll read you through the rest in a short moment, as we are on board with our first position, Pure Gold. But I will run you through the rest of the grid, as we have I'm Chucky in 7th. It's a qualifying session for Chucky with a 29.4, sorry. With our championship, our provisional championship leader, with Mazda not being there. Dubsy sitting in 8th position, and then we have Entei in 9th position with Niblo in 10th position with a 28.96 for both of them. We've got Headshots Gaming in 11th, Kramer in 12th, we've got Wimpernair in 13th, Spiley 14th, Marsketman in 15th. That's a very difficult name to pronounce, and I'm sorry I couldn't read the rest of the grid, so.
Alright, we got Azatak in 16th, Debros in 17th, and then we got a few drivers down to the bottom without a time. That's Tortoise, Prime Stingray, and Jordan Dittmer not setting times in this session, so it is a dry race here in Suzuka. We're expecting a one-stop strategy. We're expecting some issues with tires as well throughout the race, and some of the drivers may be struggling in particular towards the end of that stint, in particular from the guys near the back starting on fresh tires. Make sure you're watching out for the likes of Wimpernator, Prying Stingray, and Tortoise to make their way through the grid in the opening sections of the race. Those guys are normally very quick in the race and can get some work done, but as we're just readying ourselves to the lights to go out now, and Pure Gold on pole, he's got Eye Contrast alongside with him. I'm sure that Pure Gold will be feeling the nerves starting on pole position. But here we go, it's round 13 of AOR Oceania on PS4 in Suzuka, Japan. We're at 5 lights. And it is lights out and away we go. And it's a beautiful start for Contrast in second place. He's getting up and alongside Pure Gold going down into turn one. But Pure Gold's had a pretty good second phase of the start, and Contrast kind of backs out there and allows him to take the lead. So Pure Gold holds on through turn one. Stylen is up to P3, I think, overtaking Sir LJB there. Beautiful move from the Mercedes driver, and yeah, driver's now just settling into this very fast opening sector. It's so difficult in the dirty air in the first lap. Dubsy as well has had an absolute flyer off the start, and here we go. He's looking at Stuart Mackenzie, backs out of it. I don't want to be making a move into the Degners, I don't think, but he's up from 8th already, really getting his foot down. He has to win this race if he wants any hope of maintaining his championship fight to Mazna, who is away. So this race is essentially 3 points for Dubsy. He throws it down the inside at the hairpin, and Stuart Mackenzie leaves him the space, sees him coming. Beautiful traction around the outside for the Haas driver, though he holds on for now as we've got battling going on behind. That is Entei attempting a move on Harry Tomato, as Chucky's lost a couple positions off the grid, but he's not able to get that done. Harry Tomato holds on as Chucky is kind of struggling a little bit. Oh, he's got wing damage to the McLaren driver with his best qualifying, I think, of this season. Has lost half of his front wing and he's dropping positions rapidly there. We're going to have to go up to Dubsy, though. He's only 2/10 behind Stuart Mackenzie as they come through 130R, and he's going to look for a move down into the chicane. Surely he does throw it up the inside again, but he's not close enough. Stuart Mackenzie late on the brakes, and he holds on. LJB as well getting very close to Stylen in front of him as Pure Gold extending his way into the lead. But here comes LJB. He's looking pretty quick on the straight. Stylen is somewhat looks defensive. No, he doesn't actually get to the inside, so LJB's going to look at the inside, but he's not quite close enough and has to back out as Stuart Mackenzie's nearly gone. Has he broken his wing?
Clipped the back of LJB and lost his wing with that. So, well, this is either going to be Dubsy struggling more, or Dubsy flying past Stuart Mackenzie, and it's looking like the second one, as he's all over the back of Stuart Mackenzie. He's losing a little bit of time though here.
Yeah, just needs to make sure that he doesn't run into the back of him and damage his own car. Got to be careful coming into this first Degner, because Stuart's going to be struggling through these corners. I think Dubsy's recognised that he's got some damage and kind of backs off a little bit there. He's going to look for a good exit now, coming towards the hairpin. He'll go for the inside, surely. Yeah, he does throw it up the inside, but he runs deep somewhat. Bit of contact between the two of them, and Stuart is just holding on. He's fighting this pretty hard despite the damage, and Dubsy's got to slot in behind him again. Will he look for an adventurous move down towards Spoon as Stuart defends the inside for Spoon? I don't think, oh, he's going to try around the outside. Dubsy, oh, what a phenomenal move. He holds it all the way around the outside. Bit of contact there, the second apex. Dubsy all over the curbs, almost running off the track, but he gets the move done, and that is an absolutely beautiful overtake for the Ferrari driver.
Not done yet. Not done yet. Stuart Mackenzie's right next to him, and he's going to try and hold it around the outside.
Oh, hold on a moment. Entei almost running into the back of Stuart as well, but Dubsy, as he's just about held onto his car, yeah, he's got to skip the apex there. He's got grass all over his tyres. I'm not sure if there was contact there between him and Stuart. He does seem to have his front wing intact, but he's down to P10 as we have Stuart in the pit, so he's bailed off of this. He'll go for a two-stop strategy as Dubsy looking down the inside on Wimpinator, who is on the medium tyres, and we've seen this constantly this season. Wimpinator, he seems to enjoy starting outside the top 10 and then making his way through the field. So yeah, he's up to P9 already. I will get the tyres up for you. So yeah, a couple guys starting on the mediums. We've got Headshot Gaming up in 6th on the mediums from outside the top 10, as well as Prying Stingray and Wimpinator. They've had fantastic starts, but that issue, that error from Dubsy has cost him dearly, and he's got a huge amount of work to do now if he wants any hope of winning this race. He's going to have to pull something out of the bag, I think, on strategy, but he's getting very close to the back of Wimpinator. He still has a significant tire advantage as something has happened to Headshot. He's very slow. Dubsy up the inside of the hairpin. There we go. Beautiful move done, and the Ferrari gets the position off of Wimpinator. So what has happened to Headshot? He's got no front wing, or at least on the right hand side. He's very slow. I don't see a puncture on his car, but he's going to have to pull it into the pits, and what was looking like a phenomenal start for him is just, well, he's completely lost it up to P6 on those medium tires, and yeah, now he's going to be a long way back. He's going to join a couple people, I think, on the two-stop strategy today, as Dubsy is just a couple tenths behind Prying Stingray now. He's got 2 compounds faster tires. Although it won't be too long before these super softs start to struggle a little bit, but yeah, he's looking very racy today, Dubsy. He has to, really, and he needs to find a way past both Prying Stingray and Harry Tomato so he can try and, you know, get after those front runners, but he's got a lot of cars to get through to get there.
ball with Duxie at the minute as Prime Stingray is all over the back of Hairy Tomato. Prime Stingray had a great start. Has already won 13 positions from P20 where he started. So great race so far from Prime Stingray. And only lap forward it is, and Headshot came in pit for soft tyres after damaging his car on the medium pit. But Dubsy is also all over the back of Prime Stingray. But it does seem like the Hairy Tomato really cannot keep up with Entei and Sir LJB and stay with that front group. And we will go further towards the front. And I see Styling in third position being quite all over the back of Pure Icon track.
Yeah, Stylen looking very quick here today. Just didn't quite hook it up right in qualifying, but seems to have some solid pace. Pure Gold is still holding steady out there in front. He's just outside of the DRS from Contrast, so Contrast is going to be pushing very hard to try and get within that DRS range, and yeah, that can gain you a good sort of 2-3 tenths a lap just by having that rear wing open. So for Contrast, it's crucial he gets there. But Pure Gold with a phenomenal run to the final chicane, and he's able to extend that gap a little bit. We will hop back to Dubsy, who's trying to line up a pass on Stingray, but it's difficult for him because the pit lane entry has been broken there, and there's some debris on the track from that. That's a little bizarre, but it's very difficult for Dubsy to get a move done because Prime Stingray currently has the DRS off of Tomato in front. So yeah, Dubsy not really getting much of an advantage along the straights, and he may have to look for another audacious move to find himself a place here. But barring that, he'll have to pull something on the strategy. I think for Dubsy, it may make sense to look for a big undercut, maybe onto the medium compound tires, and try and use that to jump some positions up the field.
Yeah, there's only one thing he really can do, and that's indeed the undercut, because he's going to be stuck behind his car for a while. Obviously, these guys being, Prime Stingray being on fresh tyres and also being stuck behind the Hairy Tomato. Yeah, this has got from W way too much time. He's probably going to have to fit, and I don't know if he's going to. But he's looking quick, Dubsy, but it's not going to work like this. Definitely not going to work like this.
Yeah, so I suppose the real question is, how early could he pit for the medium compound tires? Maybe sort of lap 7 perhaps would be realistically the earliest he could go for them, and maybe still make it to the end. I mean, 20 laps around Suzuka on one set of tires is a long way to go, but he's not very far away from Prime Stingray now, and he's going to be getting a little bit frustrated. He looks at the inside. That's that's not going to work, and Dubsy is going to lose himself even more time now. I think he's getting a wee bit frustrated here as Whimpernator grabs the position, but yeah, he was just too far back, went for the lunge, but he wasn't really far enough alongside to warrant space, and Stingray has somewhat closed the door there, as he kind of has a right to do in that situation. I mean, if a car sort of flies up your inside from that far back, you can't really be expected to just jump out of the way for them. But yeah, Dubsy now, he's got another car between him and Stingray and Whimpernator. As we've seen in previous races, he's able to make these harder compound tires work very long into the race and then come back hard at the drivers, as Dubsy losing a lot of time, making a couple of mistakes here through the first sector. So yeah, race kind of falling apart for Dubsy here. He's currently sitting in P9. He needs to just get his head down and pull off something on the strategy, and there's still a lot of time left in this race for Dubsy, and the win might be out of the question, but he still needs to get at least up there into the top 5 to reel in some of that gap, because if he does not score 8 points today, then Maznat would win the championship while not being here. So Dubsy to keep this going, needs to get at least P6 or higher.
And it's looking like a little bit of a difficult task for Dubsy, although I'm sure he can do, because he does have fantastic pace. Just getting too frustrated and took it out inside where you really cannot do so. But we'll see what Dubsy does. Lap 7. So we'll see if he pits for the medium tyres now. He's not done yet, but he's nearly hit the pit lane.
Here comes Prime Stingray onto Hairy Tomato. down into turn 1, but he's not quite close enough to get alongside. Oh, he's almost run into the back of Tomato as he runs wide. And has he broken his wing? I don't think so. I'm not sure if there was contact there, but Prank Stingray gets the move done. Harry Tomato struggling under the braking into turn 1, and Stingray gets the move done. He's up into P6 now. He's got 3 seconds ahead of him to Entei, and we'll be looking for that as Dubsy is lagged out. Oh, hold on, there's contact here between Stingray and Whimpernator as the hose migration goes on, and Stingray has been spun out of the race.
Well, clearly I can confirm Stingray's not been spun out of the race. You've just left the session.
I've just left the session, okay. If you could get me another invite then, hopefully, is on my screen. Everybody has left, so sorry about the technical issues here, everybody. I will try and get into the session as soon as possible.
And I cannot get you another invite. So, yeah.
Okay, hold on a moment, lads.
Got a little bit of a problem in here. Well, while you're away, I've just started my recording, just for backup, as I'm on board with Styling, who's in P3. He's caught up to the back of Eye Contrast yet again. Going around turn 1, he's very close, and Eye Contrast actually catching up to the back of Pure Gold. So it's looking like a good battle for P1 at the minute, with Sir LGB a further 1.6 seconds back. He's not really losing touch with him, Sir LGB, but just being that little tap too far away for DRS. As we do have Entei in 5th position. We'll go from one with him. There's not really much going on with him. As we do see that, hold on, where's Prime Stingray? Harry Tomato had lost time to Whimpernator. So Whimpernator has got past the Harry Tomato, and we're now sitting in 7th position on the medium side. Looking on the mediums, and potentially being able to